Welcome all to Diaspora Excellence. Thank you all for tuning to our channel today. We are here with a highly honored individual in the community. Mr. Forji is with us today. We're gonna give him the opportunity to introduce himself. So thank you all, and I believe if you stay tuned with us, you're gonna enjoy our live feed today, and definitely you have something to take back home with you by the end of this live feed. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Forji. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Thank you, Mr. Roderick. Mr. Nia Roderick. I am Emmanuel Forji, married and a dad of 3. So I presently live in Sittingbourne, that is southeast of England.
Yeah. Okay, it's a pleasure, Mr. Emmanuel, to have you. Should I call you Mr. Emmanuel or Mr. Forji? I think Forji will be more preferable.
Forji is fine.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Forji. You're a very highly respected individual in the community. You're a silent person. You're very reserved, a family man. Many people don't know. Maybe even you don't know. You're somebody that I look up to a lot. So I think my wife will testify to this. I take you like a role model. Maybe I've never told you this, but maybe today on the live feed you you were of it. It's really an honor to sit down with you today. So can you just tell us a little bit about your background? You know, from when you enter UK and up to present date.
Thank you. I'm actually flabbergasted with your with your comments there, taking me as a role model. That is great anyway. It does makes me feel, as I said, I'm actually flattered. I do feel flattered, but anyway, you've said it, and if that is what it is, then you do mean what you're saying. So I'm happy for that. Thank you. Actually, I've been in the country here now for, I think this year will make me, August this year will make me 16 years. So I came here in 2007.
Okay.
And so my journey here has been, I mean, as we all know, life in the UK goes very quick, but I came in 2007. I came as a student studying the program, they call it Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, which is called ACCA. So prior to coming, I had studied this program in Cameroon for about 2.5 years. So I came here and then completed the program. It is what it is, and then luckily for me, when I came, I kind of focused more on my family life. So I came here in 2007, just a few months to the country. My initial thought was that I needed to get married because I kind of felt, I think it's family that would be my own achievement in the country. So I got married the year after, met a beautiful wife, which I have till date, and which I do respect so much. So we've been together since 2008. We've produced 3 beautiful children.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the first one is she's 13. So so basically that is my highest achievement I'll actually put aside. So career-wise, I've been an accountant. As you know, with this country, you don't just jump into your profession when you arrive as a student. So you've been a bit of hustling from the initial stage, jumping from doing some sort of things that can just get you going. And at the end, sometime around 2011 or so, I got into my profession, and I've been building that till today.
Okay, that's fantastic. So I believe some people that are maybe looking into getting into the accounting field, which is the most important thing. I think people who mostly like to take out from what you just said. How, if someone is looking to get into accounting, what are the kind of advice? What can you say they needs to do to get into the field?
I think I would have to say, if you're already training as an accountant, and then, I mean, once you are in, it will now depends on you as an individual. Are you an international student? Your route could be different. If you are an international student, or if you're a UK resident, you could have a different route.
Okay.
So for UK residents, I think they'll probably know more because they will do a proper undergraduate, where during the undergraduate they'll have placements and stuff like that. They have their gap year, those things. They have things that they can get into graduate schemes straight away because they do have the right working paper. They are basically residents in the country. Okay. So that route is different. But for us who kind of find ourselves here as foreign students, where at times post your study you might not have some sort of visa extension, it becomes a bit difficult. But however, the good news presently is that there is a program they call post-study work permit, where I think after your study you're given about a 2 years visa for you to then have some industrial experience, and then if you intend to go back to your country, you can then take that experience along. I think that is the intention. But overall, we do know it's also a huge opportunity for people to then use that to put a foothold into their career.
Yeah.
So necessarily circumstances are different, but what I want to say is that use that 2 years to the best of your knowledge. If your intention is to use that 2 years to make sure if your intention is to stay in the country, you want to use that 2 years to then develop your immigration status to a status that makes sense, that is fine. If your intention is to get into the profession, there are a lot of ways you can get into your profession.
Yeah.
One of the steps I could tell you is to seek for trainee schemes. There are a lot of trainee schemes where, it could be something like doing voluntary services.
Yeah.
Could do some voluntary services, unpaid services in accounting firms and stuff like that. Some of them, because you do help them, you wouldn't be paid, but you have that experience, industrial experience, that can then kind of push you further to get into a proper job in the future. And there is also, not to be completely discouraged for those on international schemes, because don't forget that even though you are as an international student, companies like PricewaterhouseCoopers and Deloitte and stuff like that, the accounting firms, if you are quite clever and intelligent, I think you could also attempt their graduate schemes.
Yes, yeah.
They will pass you through the test, and if your immigration status is something that they can give you a tier 2 visa, I think some of them do offer it to very bright students.
Okay.
So faith is not lost there. That's what I have to say. So it's all left on people, but I would say do not discourage. Get into voluntary services, gain that experience, and you should be able to move forward.
All right. From what I've seen and the few people that are not around me, I think accounting is a very lucrative profession to do nowadays. There are very few professions out there that pays very well, and one of them is accounting. So if anyone is looking forward to do accounting, you've heard from Mr. Ma. If you need more information about this, you can always email us or just drop us a text, and we'll send the text over to Mr. Forji, and we'll pass over his response back to you. Apart from accounting, I understand and I know you are a very strong businessman. You have a couple of things here and there. What advice do you want to say out there to our audience? I mean, in terms of, you can find yourself in any profession, but if you're not able to manage your finance properly, the reason why I'm asking you, because I know you're an accountant and you know more of finance management. So what advice, do you need to give young Africans out there in the diaspora that have a couple of cash lying around and maybe they're looking towards investment, or they don't know what to do with it, or they're just lavishing their money out there?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think being an accountant is one thing, and knowing how to manage your own finances is another thing. Because an accountant, you might be able, as they call them, bean counters. We count people's money, but necessarily counting ours might become difficult. I mean, not even count, you could count it, but managing it, because as you know, money management, it has to do with emotion, your own life circumstances, and the way you kind of tack your own stuff together and the things you're pursuing. So it's kind of different. But however, as we know, money is, as we call it, liquid cash, is something that is, it can easily disappear if you don't manage it properly. So the key to me, which is not even putting the profession as an accounting aside, because there are more qualified people there than myself. But I think my own kind of small honest advice is that people should gain good, what I call it, just being financially literate enough. Being financially literate might not necessarily mean knowing how to read financial statements and all stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just basically knowing how to manage the small you have.
Yeah.
As I said, it's not how much you earn, but it's how you are able to manage the little you have. That can push you ahead to being somebody better. It doesn't mean I'm somebody better. It doesn't mean I'm that kind of doing super well anyway. I'm managing in my own way, but I just think I'm under a lot of responsibility as an individual. Don't forget that the cost of living in the UK is extremely high.
Yes,
so if
correct.
we don't kind of cut our costs down as much as possible, it becomes very difficult to even keep something aside, which can then permit you to start looking into other things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to say for people who have money, who've managed to, they're financially literate enough, they've managed to keep some money aside, they don't know what to do. I mean, I don't want to give false advice out there, but I think my real advice would be you can consult. Sometimes you can start by consulting your bank managers at your bank branch, just asking them that you have this. They should give you a kind of independent advice.
Yeah.
Some of them could advise you on specific products that you could invest in the bank, which are genuine, as opposed to going through the internet and getting people that could end up swindling your money and that disappears. I mean, some of the investments from the bank could be very, very low return that doesn't really pay, but it's kind of secured. But ultimately, as a rule of thumb, what I want to say is that for those who are renting, the first opportunity should always be to have your own house, your own roof that you live under.
Yeah.
If you have savings that you've managed to put together, please endeavor, put something aside, work towards that. You can contact your bank manager. You can check for a kind of mortgage broker who can give you a more professional advice on how to actually have a house. Because don't forget, in the majority of cases, rental payments tends to be higher than mortgage payments. So if you can start by owning your own roof, I think to me that I don't know if you call that an investment or not an investment, but at least you are saving something for the future instead of paying a rent that you will never recover. So I won't get into the specific of advising people where to invest specifically because I'm not qualified in that direction. But my main advice would be start by owning your own roof.
Okay.
And can seek real expert advice in attending that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Thank you for such a brilliant advice. We had somebody that was also an insurance department and broker, insurance/broker, Mr. Ngaka, that was here with us last week, and he kind of gave a bit of more insight about acquiring a mortgage and reasons of insurance. With the situation that things are going now in the diaspora, we have lots of people, dead, young diasporans losing their lives, and I mean, life is getting very difficult. I don't know if it's due to is post effect of COVID or if it's just because life has become so difficult. I know some are just it's life. These things are bound to happen. What are the advice you can put out there for people, in terms of apart from assuring that financial situation, what kind of things they need to do to make sure when things go bad, where can they bounce back to, or is there any scheme that could, like insurance purpose, all those kind of things? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you've touched on very crucial point there, and as you've said, as we know with life, what is guaranteed is that we're going to die. There are things that I don't know if I'll be able to maybe buy a shoe tomorrow for myself, but what I'm sure is that I'll die tomorrow.
Yeah.
One day. So so it can happen to anyone at any time, and specifically, we can't really control it. It could be via accident, it could be via diseases that we didn't know it was kind of generating in our systems, and eventually takes you when you are unaware. So those things do happen, but sometimes there are things that we could control if this has to do with external factors like being financially stressful or stressed with jobs that or marital issues that makes you even develop some facilitate some diseases in your in your system and stuff like that, or even push you towards committing suicide.
Yeah.
I think those are the ones that I think as I mean, not just being as us diasporans, but as humans, you know, I know there's a lot of dynamism out there. People have different types of way of handling things, but I think do not avoid exposing yourself too much to financial pressures. If you think, I mean, what they normally say in a common English is that cutting your coat to your size.
To your size, yeah.
You know, if you think something is kind of within out of your reach, please do not do it. And if you think there are specific situations that kind of requires you to say no, please go ahead and say no. If that basically save you from future financial issues, please say no and prevent that from happening. And then for those in terms of finances, if you think that, yeah, I mean, if you're having financial issues, but you also have some time in your hands. Sometimes the financial issues that is caused by ourselves could just be you not being productive enough. You can also go out there and do some extra hours or whatsoever,
Yeah.
or you could just reskill yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but there are a lot of courses out there that you could reskill yourself and earn more without putting more hours.
That's true.
Yeah, to kind of mitigate some of those financial impact. So, but however, planning ahead, let's kind of assume that as we know we're going to die, and we do have loved ones and family members. Sometimes, let's say, as a productive individual, just as yourself, there's a huge impact if you were not to be available tomorrow.
Yeah.
And your family is there. You know, the impact will be that while you're not there as an individual, which in itself has a lot of impact, but financially a hole is left.
Yeah.
You know, so we do know within the Western systems there are a lot of mechanisms of facilities that are kind of set up that you can benefit from it by contributing something, so that in the eventual case that the inevitable happens,
Yeah.
you know, those things can then fall into place to kind of aid your family financially somehow. Some of this is life insurance.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of you just need to Google and you have a lot of codes that you can quote on life insurance. Some of these could be things that, let's assume that if you die today or tomorrow, it could help to maybe even repatriate your corpse back to Cameroon if you want to be buried in your country of origin. I'll call Cameroon because I'm from Cameroon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you want to be buried here, that also take care of the funeral cost. But not just that, the financial void that you kind of leave behind is also kind of breached to a certain extent. It could be depending on what you have on life insurance, you have whatever package that you qualify for.
Yeah.
If you die and then that is passed to your family, it kind of, even though you are not there, it doesn't leave your kids hungry or your wife being unable to take care of the children and stuff like that. Or if it's a wife leaving the dad behind and the children as well, they also have things that they can hang on. So I think people should endeavor to. It might sound as if you paying that money as if it's wasted, but it's not really wastage. If it's 30 something pounds, 40 pounds, there are even very expensive schemes there. But as we know, people are dying, just as Rodrigue said. So for those who have those schemes, I think their family, I wouldn't say benefit, but at least they'll be having something to hang on. What is certain is that we will die, but we don't know when that would be and what would be the cause of our death. So, but what we don't want to happen is that the loved ones who've left behind then suffer as a result of us, suffer financially as a result of us not being available.
Okay. So, thank you very much for such elaborate advice you put out there. The reason why we create this platform is because we're trying to, me myself, I'm not that smart person, right? I'm just another engineer out there doing what he can to be able to look after his family and friends. So the reason why I came up with this idea is just to create a platform where we can get people like yourself and other people in different sector in life, so they can come and share their knowledge so that we can impact um, not only Africans in the UK, Africans in the world, in the world or in the Western world entirely. And I believe every single episode we make of this show, somebody somewhere is getting something very important. So I mean, that's why I just want to thank you again for such an important point about making sure people secure their financial situations and insurance wise. And I mean, if people I want if I want a platform, it doesn't necessarily needs to be exactly the way I want it, right? This is something that's open for people to bring ideas and all that kind of thing. But I want a platform where we can all rely on our kind of people to be able to do certain things in life. Say, if I know someone that have a company and they're willing to, do their self-assessment and all those kind of financial situation, I want to be able to say, okay, contact Mr. Forji for advice, or contact Mr. X for insurance, contact Mr. Ngaka for insurance, or contact Danny Mbappe for reception, food, and all those kind of stuff. Or, I mean, that is the idea we are having with. I'm thinking of creating a platform that we as diaspora, we should be able to support our own. And I don't want, the difficulties that we have is that most of us Africans, we are not very professional in what we do. That's a fact, right? Some people will say, oh, contacting an African person, they'll come, they'll just do it, and just, it's not gonna be very professional, which you're practically gonna pay the same money to one of these Westerners, and they'll do it properly for you. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think if I if I understood you correctly, yeah. So basically, what you're saying is trying to like create a platform where expert opinions on specific fields, people could bring their expert opinions, or there could be like a reciprocity where those experts sit there, and if someone comes in there, they could be directed to the right Africans or diaspora community here in abroad to help them
Exactly.
in their specific point of need. I think it does make sense. And then you also talked about the potential of sometimes Africans not being very professional in some of the skills that they do. I mean, it's not just an issue of Africans; it's an issue of individual, because it could just be the case that you know this person as an African, your brother also. By taking that person to do a job for you, the mere fact that that person might not be competent doesn't mean because he's an African. Just the fact that the person is not competent,
Correct.
you know, that would have applied if you use an indigent or a white guy who is not qualified. Maybe you have the same result.
That's correct.
Yeah. So it will just be the case that when using people, don't just use someone because he's an African. Or let me call him my brother. I want him to do well, which is good. But if you have a bad result, don't also complain that it's because you use an African.
Yeah.
So to me, I think it just have to be encourage your brothers, but if you think they're not qualified, make sure that the result that you have, do not complain. Or if you really want to help them, can you take them to do the things that you think their skills might be compatible to?
Yeah.
And for the things that you think are a bit sophisticated, use an expert. Because even within the same African community, you have experts.
That's correct.
So as you said, maybe having a platform like that could bring those real experts where, just like as you as an engineer, you at your level of engineer, you have people where below you, and you could have people right at the top there.
That's correct.
You won't take yourself that, yeah, you can do that when you know that definitely maybe I shouldn't be doing that.
That's correct.
So sometimes it's just people also being honest when you are called to do something that you know you are not competent to do. You can put your hands up and say, no, I can do that. I can end at this level, but I can call this person else who will be able to continue. Or you might just call him and he employs me to actually help you in achieving your end result. Yeah, so I think maybe having a platform like that could be helpful, and but I'm just wondering how that would be called. Yeah, that'll be left.
No,
that'll be left to you.
it's not something that it's not something that we. Okay, let me say for example, right? Again, you're an accountant, right? You own your, let's say, you own your private firm, right? An accountant.
It's an example. Yeah.
It's an
It's
example. So you own your private firm, and somebody contact me. Oh, okay. I always watch your show, and I kind of believe in diaspora support and all.
Yes,
And
yes.
do you know any accountant that you can recommend for me? It's not like I'm creating.
I understand.
I want to do something.
So it will be like, okay, I got you.
Yeah, so I'll just okay. Yeah, no, you can contact this
can.
person. He will do you an excellent service. You know, I know him, and I believe in what he does. Just those kind of
I
things.
understand it. I do understand.
It's not like I want to create a platform where.
No. That makes a lot of sense.
That'll be like you come. It would be like Rots, Eject Rots.
And then it'll even before when you're searching Diaspora accountant in London, it'll be a bit funny instead of you just searching accountants in London.
In London, yeah.
So that's fine.
So it's kind of giving more opportunities to our brothers and sisters out there. It's worth supporting. All right, so we've talked about that, and I mean it's fantastic. What looking at our community right now, I've seen you're Cameroonian, I'm Cameroonian myself. Let's just stay on the Cameroon community for this purpose. To the best of my observation, it might not be right. I think the community, cultural-wise, we're lagging behind. There's not a lot in terms of general community activities going out there. I don't know if you've observed this, like myself.
The same observation. So, at a granular level, yes, there's a lot of cultural things going on, like where you have maybe people from Kumba, the Bakundus, people from Boya, the Bakuris, people from the Libialem, people from Bafang, the Bamleke people. Yes, there are a lot of, to my knowledge, there are a lot of those small community meetings and interactions going on. But from an overall umbrella level, at that umbrella level where Cameroonians, having a generic Cameroonian community, it doesn't mean people come every month to meet somewhere, but where you could, like it is a common knowledge here where we know the Nigerian community is very strong.
Yeah. Strong
in the sense that they don't necessarily meet, as I've said earlier, on a monthly basis to have meetings, but it's supporting each other through understanding where their people from their country have businesses, and then shopping from those shops to promote their own businesses, because that also empowers the people.
Correct.
Because as we know, one of the best way of empowering people is having a kind of financial contribution to the country, and sometimes just being an employee to companies, you do contribute somehow, but I mean you are not really employing. But when you start getting to that level where you guys have companies that you employ people, you may not just be employing your own people, but employing nationals, employing people in the country as a community, it does help. So I think Cameroonian community is lacking in that aspect. I have no proposal how that could be done, but it's good you've brought it out there. But I think Cameroonian community, to my knowledge, it might be existing, but I'm not really aware of it really being something that is. I don't know if that has to do with regionalism in Cameroon or the overall polarizing nature of Cameroonian politics in Cameroon itself.
Yeah.
But internationally, the community is lacking.
Unfortunately, Cameroonians are. I'll say, I don't know if I'll say unfortunately or fortunately, Cameroonians are very brilliant people, very intelligent Cameroonians in the diaspora, to be honest. but it's just so unfortunate how we are unable to put up our community together. I mean, like right now, I think Cameroon is one of the few diasporans that I know that doesn't organize like um, like an end of year party like others community does, like Nigeria, Ivory Coast. I think
Do like Miss
Miss
Nigeria
Nigeria
in the
in the
UK.
UK or I don't know, those kind of things. Cameroon is one of the few countries that I know that doesn't do things like that. Which we have fantastic event organizers out there that are doing the best to make it happen. But I feel like there's a problem on the sections of the organizers, as well as there's a problem of Cameroonians as well. Because it's true, the individuals that attend this event, they are complaining about the way the structure of the event. And
Have they organized? Sorry, have they organized one before?
yeah, there are a couple of this kind of things going on that I just here and there. I've attend most of them, but not all of them. I know Washington always do like award thingy at the end of the year, which is very interesting, but unfortunately, it doesn't always get the hit back the way it's supposed to get.
Because I didn't even know one was existing. Maybe just me just being a bit cut off from a lot of things. When maybe you find out from them, do they normally contact all the various subs, cultural events or communities existing here before doing that? Because if they kind of liaise with them and something that it becomes something that is done as a collaborative initiative
Yeah,
than somebody just saying I'm doing this for Cameroon. It's a bit so maybe I don't know what is done behind the scene, but I think if that is done, they take steps like that, go down, contact every group, the window groups, every kind of group that exists,
yeah,
put them everyone together, everything. And I think it could have a bit of role and impact, you know, because it's common, in the diaspora where, I mean, I don't want to get too much into details, but people just forming a name called, I could just form something now and call Cameroon whatsoever, and then
yeah,
put a few people and then trying to impose as if that is what it should be.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's very
without
correct.
necessarily collaborating, then creating it as a form of collaboration than just imposing. That's just my suggestion and something that I think if it hasn't been done could be tested.
Yeah, I think that's a very brilliant point, to be honest, because that's one of the things that I've been mentioning as well. That if somebody, if you want to take, you sit back and say, oh, nothing is being done. Okay, you take the initiative of doing it. You don't just do it by yourself, right? You need to collaborate with people to make sure there's certain events that are even going out there that I mean, we live in another country and we have an embassy in this country. You need to inform them, even if they are not giving financial support,
Exactly.
right? You just need to let them know, okay, this is going on. Please, I just need a little letter approving me to do this kind of thing. And just the fact of having a letter and post it out there with your invitation, it kind of put up some kind of more, I don't know, I'll say solid. You make it more solid, than just standing out by yourself and say you're doing this event. That's on the part of the people organizing the event, and I believe what you've mentioned about them contacting sub communities is a brilliant point. And all those that are involved into this kind of activities, if you haven't been doing that, I think it's something that you people want to look into. Contact sub communities so that we want to come and we want to come and make sure at least 45% or even 30% of Cameroonians in the UK and other countries abroad that are involved in an event like that. So thank you very much for that point. I believe most people will take that into consideration. Um, I think I don't know. We've talked much about most of the things we were supposed to talk today. If you have any advice or any potential thing that can benefit somebody out there in the community that you want to communicate.
I think Thanks a lot. I want to first of all really thank you for calling me to your show and for welcoming me to your home. Actually, I think most of the stuff we've kind of touched almost most. Um, the majority, I think the key points, which would just be a kind of reiteration, some of the things I've said before, would just be people to make use of some of these financial products out there to secure themselves. This could be health insurance, life insurance, and then if you're really struggling on rent and stuff like that, and you also able to save something, please work towards owning a house. So at least you have something that you're paying for, even though you're paying interest on it, but tomorrow it could be yours. And essentially upskilling. So for those who think, I mean, as we said, we do have a lot of intelligent people, as some of the points you've touched. Upskill your skills, go out there, look for a few things to do. If you think what you're earning presently is something that you do have more potential, that you could earn more. If you to a higher level to make you earn more and improve your financial situations. And I think for me, that is what I want to advise. And for those who are family people, please take care of your families, be responsible moms and dads, be a role model to your children, because as we know, the way we're kind of brought up, it's a bit slightly different from the way we bring up our children, but let's try as much as possible to be role models to our children. That's what I want to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Forji. Last one, Diaspora Excellent. You're a very intelligent person, and we want to thank you for being with us today. Any advice on Diaspora Excellent? What do you think? I know we are not yet where we can be. We don't have that full potential yet. I don't know if there's any advice you want to give us, what we need to touch and places or the kind of things we need to do, or what is your general opinion about what we're doing?
I think what I want to say is that, as you said, Rome wasn't built in a day, isn't it?
Correct.
And if you do want to walk a journey of 1,000 miles, you have to start with a step.
Yeah.
So, and you have to then walk before you run. So what you're doing, just coming out of your shelf and doing this, thinking about an initiative on paper, from your head to the paper, and then executing it, that is in itself a bold step. So what I want to say is that you're already on the right steps, and gradually, the questions you've asked, what your intentions are quite good. So just have to keep moving on that direction. Do not try and rush. Just what you're already doing is quite enough. Keep carrying on, and gradually it could just be, as you're going further, look for more avenues for your feet to be shared properly.
Yeah.
I don't know how that is done, but I think as you're getting into the domain, you might know much better.
Yeah.
And then just move on, just keep doing what you're doing. You're already doing it brilliantly. Well, that's what I can say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Forji. It's a pleasure having you with us today. And wish you